Separated, but still hoping? What if I told you this phase doesn't have to be the end? It could actually be the turning point. Hey, I'm Michael Flynn, and welcome to Relationship Reset Academy, where we don't do fluff, we do real talk for real relationships. Today, we're digging into something most couples don't talk about: how to actually work on your marriage while you're apart. Not divorced, not done, just separated, and maybe still holding on to a thread of hope. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear, no-nonsense roadmap on what to do and what not to do if you want to rebuild trust, communication, and connection while you're living in different spaces. Before we jump in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a tip to improve your marriage. All right, let's talk about how to actually work on your marriage while you're separated, step by step. Step 1, accept the separation, but don't see it as the end. First things first, if you're separated, you're probably carrying a storm of emotions. One minute you're missing them like crazy, the next you're replaying every fight, every silence, every door that closed a little too hard. That roller coaster? Totally normal. But here's something most people don't realize right away. Separation doesn't have to be a breakup. It could be a reset. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. You're sleeping alone. Your routines are off. You're wondering if they're even thinking about you. But you can't let those thoughts spiral into hopelessness. Because the moment you accept that this space is not the end, but a pause, it changes the entire game. See, the danger comes when people treat separation like a waiting room. They sit around hoping their spouse will have a change of heart, make a dramatic return, or suddenly realize they can't live without them. But that's not how real change happens. Real change begins when you stop waiting and start working. Working on what exactly? On you, on your reactions, on the way you communicate, on understanding where things really start to break down. Not the surface stuff, but the patterns that kept repeating. Were you emotionally unavailable? Did you shut down instead of leaning in? Did unresolved resentment pile up until it became the third person in your marriage? This is the time to get painfully honest. But here's the beauty in all of it. Once you face your truth, you get to start shaping a better version of yourself. Not for your partner, not to convince them to come back, but because you want to grow. And that personal growth, it has a ripple effect. It shifts the entire energy between you and your spouse, even if you're not in the same room. Step 2, reset the communication rules. Communication during separation is like walking a tightrope. One wrong move, and everything can tilt in the wrong direction. And if you're thinking, well, I'll just keep texting like normal, slow down for a second. That same casual tone that worked before may not work now. Things have changed, and the way you communicate has to reflect that. This is the time to press reset on how you talk to each other. That means putting thought into what you say, how you say it, and when. No more emotional outbursts masked as check-ins. No guilt trips disguised as just being honest. And definitely no late-night calls fishing for validation. Instead, start by agreeing, either directly or through your actions, on a new rhythm for communication. Maybe it's scheduled check-ins a few times a week. Maybe it's just texting about logistics for now. Whatever it looks like, keep it light, respectful, and predictable. And here's something important. Your tone needs to shift. This is not about fixing the marriage in every message. It's about creating a safe space again. Think of it like planting seeds. You don't water the soil with pressure. You nurture it. The way you speak tells your spouse who you're becoming. If your words are calm, grounded, and clear, they'll feel it. If you show restraint where you used to show frustration, they'll notice. And over time, those subtle shifts start rebuilding trust. Also, a little tip: ask questions. Not the kind that puts them on the spot, just the kind that opens a door. A simple, "How are you doing lately?" with no expectations attached go the long way. It shows that you care without demanding anything in return. And if you're stuck on what to say or how to keep things respectful without sounding distant, you'll find some really effective guides and phrasing examples at romancedictionary.com/marriage. That's a great place to get support as you learn to rebuild healthy communication from the ground up. The link is in the pop-up here and in the description below. Step 3, rebuild your identity outside the relationship. Let's be honest. When you're in a long-term relationship, you start to lose sight of yourself. Your decisions revolve around the other person. Your routines sync up. And after a while, you forget what your life looked like before the two of you became we. That's why separation, while painful, can also be this weird opportunity to reconnect with a version of you that's been on pause. You know, the you that had dreams, passions, quirks, and hobbies that weren't always filtered through your spouse's preferences or your shared responsibilities. Now's the time to start showing up for yourself again. Not as a strategy to make your partner want you back, but because you deserve to feel whole on your own. What's something you've always wanted to try, but never had the time or confidence for? A cooking class? Weight training? Writing? Painting? Start doing that. Not for distraction, but for expansion. You might feel guilty at first, like enjoying yourself during a separation is somehow wrong. But it's not. When you start to feel alive again, you become more grounded, more attractive, more centered. You walk into conversations with calm energy instead of desperation. And that shift can change everything. Here's the magic of this step. When your partner sees you taking care of yourself, not spiraling, not clinging, it triggers curiosity, respect, maybe even admiration. You go from being someone who's falling apart to someone who's evolving. Also, don't confuse healing with moving on. You're not trying to stop caring. You're trying to stop losing yourself. And in doing that, you actually give your relationship a better chance of surviving because you're no longer operating from emptiness. Step 4. Lead with consistency, not promises. It's tempting to say all the right things during a separation. You want to fix it, so you start promising change. I'll be better. I'll listen more. I won't shut down anymore. The words might even be true, but if they're not backed by action, reliable, repeatable action, they fall flat. This phase isn't about convincing your partner through speeches. It's about showing them through how you carry yourself, through how you speak, through the calm, steady way you respond to things that used to trigger you. Consistency is what creates emotional safety, not the occasional romantic gesture, not a weekend of behaving well followed by a week of slipping back into old habits. It's about making your growth so visible, they can't help but feel the difference. So if you used to avoid hard conversations, now you gently lean into them. If you used to get defensive at feedback, now you pause, breathe, and respond with curiosity. If you used to overpromise and underdeliver, now you underpromise and overdeliver. And the truth is, this isn't just about them. It's about building integrity within yourself. That quiet pride you feel when you know you've handled something differently, that's the kind of energy that changes relationships. You're not trying to become someone new overnight. You're becoming someone better day by day, through small wins, through showing up differently, through being a version of yourself that's strong, calm, and aligned. Your partner might not respond right away. That's okay. The goal isn't immediate validation. The goal is to rebuild trust on solid ground, not just on hopeful words. And trust, my friend, is built in layers. So keep showing up in a way that proves you're growing, for you, not just for them. Step 5. Rebuild attraction slowly, without pressure. There's this myth that attraction is all chemistry and butterflies. But if you've been married for a while, you know attraction shifts. It deepens. It cools off. It reignites. And after a separation, rebuilding that spark isn't about forcing passion. It's about creating comfort, curiosity, and emotional warmth again. That starts by lowering the pressure. You don't need to flirt constantly or try to prove you're desirable. What you do need is emotional openness. Laughter. Shared moments that feel light, not loaded. If your spouse seems open to it, start small. Send a message that reminds them of a good memory, but with no expectation attached. Ask how they're doing and actually listen without redirecting the conversation back to the relationship. Just show them that being around you feels easy again. Attraction often starts with safety. And safety comes from knowing that being in your presence doesn't mean walking into another fight, guilt trip, or argument. So your job here isn't to push romance. It's to create space. Let them miss you, not because you disappeared, but because you're now showing up in a way that feels grounded and good. That pull happens when someone realizes the version of you they're seeing is the version they always hoped for. It might feel slow, but slow is good, because anything rushed tends to fall apart again. What you're doing is creating a foundation for real reconnection. Keep being present. Keep leading with lightness. And most importantly, keep being consistent. When emotional connection starts to rebuild, the physical and romantic energy follows naturally. No pressure, no pushing, just patience and presence. You're not chasing your partner. You're becoming someone they'll feel drawn toward again. And that's a whole different energy. Look, working on your marriage while separated is tough. I've spent over 10 years helping people right where you are, and I can tell you this with full confidence. Your effort matters. You're not powerless. And change is possible, even when it looks impossible. But you've got to stay intentional. Every step you take to reflect, communicate differently, focus on your own growth, and create a new vision for your marriage, it matters. And if you're serious about working on your marriage, head over to romancedictionary.com/marriage. It's full of tools that can help you get clarity and start rebuilding, even while separated. The link is in the pop-up here and in the description below. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and how you plan to work on your marriage. Let's reset those relationships together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.